Carrie, you ready?
Yes, sir.
John, you ready?
I'm ready.
I'd like to call this meeting Delaware County Commissioners to order Monday, December 15, 2014. It is now 9:01. If everybody please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Denise, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bledsoe? Absent. Mr. King?
Here.
Ms. Riggin?
Present.
Ms. Judy Rust?
Present.
And Ms. Shawn Neal?
Present.
We have no public hearings today. We do need to approve the minutes of December 1st.
Also moved.
Have a motion, and I'll second it. Have any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
And Mr. King?
Yes. We have presentation to the Commissioners, deed for the Delaware County from Mundale for the Justice Center building.
Sean, Mr. Murphy's not going to be here today. We've been speaking about the Mundale dissolving the corporation and the,
So now, where the Justice Center is being
Oh, the
paid
deed.
off.
Okay.
Yeah, the deed.
what's the procedure that we need to?
Hang on just a second, I have it pulled up.
We should get him the dollar out.
The bonds were paid off this year, and it returns title to the county. And the bank will end up releasing the trust indenture, so I think you just need to approve the return of the title to the
To
county.
the county.
Mhm.
So move to return the title to the county.
Have-
Delaware County Justice Center.
Have a motion, and I'll second that. Do we have any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
I believe it's this warranty. Is it
Yeah.
warranty?
Yeah. Next, we have contracts and agreements for approval. We have equipment scheduled to the equipment lease agreement number 072497T1 agreement between BI Incorporated and Delaware County Community Corrections.
Good morning.
Donna?
Good morning.
This contract is a contract for our new RF-206 electronic bracelets. I don't know if you have any other questions about. Okay, excellent. Okay.
She said it's just a new,
What this bracelet is, it does not take a landline telephone.
oh, okay.
And so we got some new equipment coming in and have to have a contract.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Move that we accept the lease agreement.
I'll second it. Have any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
And Mr. King?
Yes. Next, we have Delaware County Community Corrections electronic monitoring of inmates from the Delaware County Sheriff's Department to the pretrial release program.
This is our annual review of our contract for the pretrial release program to help with the jail overcrowding.
The deal.
Yes.
Also move. Oh,
It's just contract.
that's right.
Have a motion, I'll second it. Denise, can you call the roll, please?
Mr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Riggin?
Yes.
Next, we have Delaware Community Corrections electronic monitoring for inmates from the Delaware County Sheriff's Department to RF Cellular pretrial home detention program.
Again?
Just again?
What these three contracts are, there are three different ways that you can monitor individuals. There's the GPS, which will be next, the RF-206 units, and then the RF units. So these are just contracts for each of the three types of home detention that we have.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, Delaware County Community Corrections electronic monitoring of inmates from the Delaware County Sheriff's Department to the GPS pretrial home detention program.
Now, and just continue.
Yeah, just same thing.
I'll move to accept them.
Have a motion, and I'll second it. Discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Next, we have Delaware County Community Corrections and Computer Management and Consultant Incorporated Service Contract.
And we'd like to remove that from the agenda at this time.
We'll move on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have contracts and agreements for approval for LPA Consulting Contract number 1382332.
Good morning. In our terms, that's Bridge 516. State gives it its own identification number. This is for professional services to design the rehab for the Tillotson Bridge over White River. And this is we'll receive 80% reimbursement, and the total not to exceed on this contract is $274,000.
Okay.
And this is the firm that we scored on our,
Yes, we did follow the NDOT proposal process, and this is with HWC Engineering.
also move that we accept this contract.
Have a motion, and I'll second this one. Any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Next, we have LPA consulting contract number 0710098.
This is for professional services to rehab Bridge 141, otherwise known as on Tiger Drive over White River. We did follow the NDOT proposal process. This contract would be with American Structure Point and has a not to exceed amount of $313,685.
And I understand this did come in a little bit higher, but you were able to
I was
get
able to.
it down, and I
They
appreciate
did sharpen their pencils, and there's some items on here that we may not need to use. It just depends on the permitting process, so it could be quite a bit lower than this.
Okay.
We appreciate Angie's work on touching the budgets. Also move that we approve the American Structure contract.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Miss Reagan.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Next, we move on to appointments. Ball State University Common Wage hearing, set for January 7th.
What project is that, Angie, do you know?
It's not project specific. They do a wage sharing every quarter.
A quarterly?
Mhm.
They do have one set though, I believe, for,
They have down here January
January
7th.
7th.
yeah, January 7th, so.
So any projects that are going on, they just roll
And how
it
many
in.
people serve on that committee?
There's 5.
And we just get one appointment? and-
Yes.
I think you've done it.
I've done it for the past couple of years for Ball State.
For-
I'm happy to do so if you like. If not, I understand.
I'll appoint Angie for this project.
I'll second it.
Anywhere.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next, we'll move on to ordinance for second reading. We have ordinance 2014-036 to amend an ordinance regulating traffic on certain public streets in Delaware County.
Also move.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second. Do you have any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Next, we have an ordinance for first reading, amendment to retiree insurance ordinance.
What's that number? I didn't get that. You don't have that?
Yeah, I do.
What's the number?
Well, I left my book downstairs, so I'm going to say that it's 040.
Because it's an amended ordinance.
2014040A.
And this
I'll move for introduction of the 2014-040A.
All right, I'll second it. We have a motion for introduction and a second. Have any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Miss Reagan,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
I'll move to suspend the rules for 2014-040A.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Miss Reagan,
Yes.
Now you need to adopt it.
Yes. I'll move to approve, to adopt 2014-040A. So become active.
I'll second it. We have a motion and a second to adopt 2014-040A. Denise, can you call the roll?
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
He's got a lot of papers to sign
You're busy.
Have no resolutions for approval. We'll move to department heads and elected officials. Would anybody like to speak at this time? Okay, we'll move on down to...
Jason's coming up.
Sorry, I've got the write-offs for November for EMS for
Okay.
billing. We received total payment of $225,790.15. Our write-offs were $227,507.92. Our accounts, or balance forward is $936,104.70, and I've got that breakdown here. I've got a copy for you, Denise.
Okay.
So I just need a motion to
For the write-off.
accept the write-offs. Yeah.
Okay, so move, motion.
Have a motion, I'll second it. Any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
James, if I may, I want to tell you, as commissioner, for all commissioners that have served in your positions in the last 8 years, that I've enjoyed working with each and every one of you. And, you know, I'm going to be kind of sad to leave, but it's bitter.
Yeah.
So it's time to move on, but I do thank you. I appreciate Patty and Angie and the lawyer and Denise, everybody who's been supportive the last 8 years. Appreciate it.
Thank
And I
you.
want to thank the public too, because they were the ones who entrusted me to do this job. And I enjoyed serving this community in this position for the last 8 years. Thanks to the public.
And Judy, thank you for your service.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed working with you the 4 years on the council and the 2 years on the commissioners. So,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yes, and I've known Judy since the 12 years we served on the Center Township Board, and I worked for her for 4 years there, I believe.
It's true.
And she runs a very efficient staff, and how they work down there with less people is amazing, but they've gotten the job done, and we do appreciate her service to the community. So let's get her out.
Move on the payment of claims in the amount of $1,351,160.74.
Second motion.
We have a motion, I'll second it, for payment of claims. Any discussion? Denise, call the roll, please.
Miss Reagan.
Yes.
And Mr. King.
Yes. Questions, comments from the community? Morning, Mr. Terry.
Good morning. 1 month ago, I was here and gave out several packets of information that said, that proved that many irregularities existed in the October 1st, 2012 contract, assessment contract. Since then, I have given out several more packets. In your packets, I indicated more proof existed and was available at your request. No one asked for additional proof, so I guess what they saw in the packets was proof enough. I'd like to share with you a few comments that I received. The proof in these packets is clear and leaves no questions. Has our prosecutor received this information? Something has to be done. The county's internal controls must really be weak. We need the money returned. The commissioners approved this contract without reading it. PSC has been doing business with Delaware County for many years. There must be other contracts with irregularities. What are we going to do about it?
Okay. John, would you like to answer where we're at right now with the letters on the contract?
I'm not sure if he's addressing that or
Or if he's addressing
the
something else?
contract, 2012 contract. My understanding is the county attorney at the time looked at the contract. It wasn't our firm.
Right.
Oh, is there anyone who received these packets that would like to make a comment? Surely somebody's got it, read it and has a comment.
I don't have a comment. Do you have a comment, Sherry?
Anyone out here that has a comment on the?
This is the contract we addressed a few months
Yeah,
ago.
it's right, and
Good morning, I'm Steve Fields, and I've read through all that evidence, and it's very clear that the commissioners on October 1st, 2012 were misled and actually lied to about the reduction in services, and the amount of the contract didn't go down commensurate with the reduction in services. Then both of you were at a meeting earlier this year where the county assessor admitted that trending and maintenance should be around $125,000. And in that packet, you had a thumb drive with that recording. You also had a DVD that nobody had seen before back several months ago. When you supposedly looked at it before, which you can't ignore the obvious evidence there. Anyway, Mr. Carmichael has a fiduciary duty to the taxpayers to represent them and not act as an agent for the vendor. You folks have a fiduciary duty to us. When you've brought evidence of this irregularities and borders on fraud, if it's not actually fraud, to do something about that. And we overpaid $508,000, and the evidence is quite clear in those packets you were given.
I think the same thing you guys are stating now is what you also stated back, I think, in the spring about the contract.
No, it's not quite the same.
And we had it sent.
We've stated about the same thing, but the proof here is actually you have the video where he tells everyone there's no changes, and he said, I have no idea why they went from 5 years to 2 years. You've got all the emails that explain exactly why that happened. You've got the two different contracts. I counted over 2,200 word changes. Carmichael says there's none. You guys didn't look at that contract. You weren't on one of the commissioners at the time, either one of you. But the commissioners took his word for it and signed it. Sure, we'll pay $379,000 if it includes cyclical reassessment and everything else, but it didn't.
Yeah. Well, I know we gave the packet to Steve Murphy, which is looking at it. He's not here today to answer the questions on that.
I would have thought after a month somebody would have got with me.
I would just suggest come back next year, discuss it when the attorney and we get up further information back, okay?
Excuse me, each of you got a packet, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a packet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see the evidence in that packet?
I forwarded everything to the attorney, and I let our attorneys look at it.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you have the fiduciary duty to us. The attorney only has a fiduciary duty to you.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Anybody else have anything?
Do the motion.
My name's Charles Lancaster. I live at 11501 North County Road 100 West. I looked through the information that Mr. Terry passed out a meeting ago, and it was obvious that that October 2012 contract should not have been approved without being re-advertised and bid again. I believe you have a very large refund coming back. I don't know the amount, but probably nearly
Right.
$500,000. You know, if we were blessed with a stronger news media in this community, there would be a lot of county officers held accountable on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Move we recess until January 5th, I believe.
I'll second.
Okay, well, sorry.
I'll second it.
I'm not done.
Well, I am.
I have a different.
Is that the end of public comment? Second to recess.
Mr. King
Yes,
and Ms. Reagan.
Yes.
we're going to recess.